Woohoo. Okay, be on good behavior. All right, now. Okay, so what we want to do is I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully this is going to work. Just a little slideshow. Come on. Come on. There we go. But before we get into all of that, I wanted to give you a little heads up. We had our talk. Astronomical events that are coming up between now and our next meeting, June 12th. Then we're going to be talking about degree symbols. We give a little bit of history, about why they can be helpful, important, how I use them. And we'll look at some charts with some applications in them. Okay, coming up, May 10th is a big day. Mercury is going to station retrograde at 4:47 a.m. This will probably be the most intense Mercury retrograde of the year. But it's going to cover the shortest. They're going to make it very intense, particularly more so for anybody who has sensitive points, planets between 26 Taurus and 4 or 5 Gemini. Or one of the other fixed or mutable signs at that range. Then that afternoon, Jupiter goes into Aries. Or not. He's not going to stay. It's just a short visit. He will go retrograde later this summer and go back in Pisces. Pick up some things he forgot. And then he will get out of there and back into Aries by the end of the year.
Should that be good for the stock market?
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask in terms of last week, Jupiter,
Yeah.
if anybody agrees with me, I find in my chart, Jupiter transits are absolutely overrated. Every time they hit my midheaven, nothing nice happens. Nothing. And it's well placed. It's a Leo in the second house, trine Mercury, sextile Saturn. So I'm just wondering if anybody else has that experience. It's not the great benefic.
Okay, I'll tell you that I have Jupiter in the second house. And what I found is money goes. Money goes. It comes in, but it goes. But it's always there when I need it. But it's constantly going.
Right. But how about the transits? Like, it's my midheaven, nothing.
Yeah.
It's in my North Node in my Uranus. I usually visit Jupiter Uranus. I will call by others, but nothing ever happens.
Are there any aspects of your midheaven besides the trine?
Yeah, my Mercury. Mercury and mostly my Mercury.
What is your midheaven?
Oh, wait a minute, no, it's 11. It's 11.
Yeah, let me talk to you.
Yeah.
The Saturn squares you from the 12th.
There you go, I have the same problem with my Jupiter. It's got very difficult. And I remember half the time when.
Can you hear it okay?
No, Jim, we're having a really hard time.
No, we
hearing.
can't.
Okay. All right. Let me see if we can.
Certain times when other things are happening, the Jupiter really works. But
Let me
otherwise,
get the microphone going.
with the problems were with the planets at first.
Just turn on this mic.
On your
Yeah,
video,
it's recorder. Just turn it on.
you should look at that carefully and see what,
You're saying that this where Saturn Good happening. Jupiter transit.
This energy goes into the square.
Nothing negative.
Use a mic so they can hear us. They can hear us better.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Your level is right here, number 3.
Is there a longer cable or we can't do that?
We're fixing this as we go along. Is there 3 people entered the waiting room? And we'll take care of them.
Are you using this webcam or yours?
Right now I'm using mine.
Do you want to use that?
No, we can use that one.
Okay.
Hang on.
Go to the Zoom settings.
In control. This meeting. Video.
Well, click on that video at the bottom button thing up there.
Okay.
The webcam is connected? No, it's not connected.
Oh, that's probably one.
That's
Bear with us. Let's see.
Yes,
There's one on the other side.
I used that one.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. There we go.
Jupiter's. Is that good?
That's good. Okay.
Or a little bit higher, so you're gonna stand here to talk.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
That's fine.
I'll be fine.
Well, so always there is. Just wanted to make it better.
Thank you.
Sounds good, it's good.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. And we.
No, usually no. Sometimes yes, I don't know how to do it different.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Rita, somebody, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hello, somebody?
Yes, we can hear you
Can you
now.
hear me out there?
Can hear you,
No?
Jim.
Yes.
I
Okay.
just had to take my headset outside and get all the background feedback. Keep talking. We can hear you. We do not see you though. You've got a black screen.
Yeah,
We're gonna
sounds great.
send
Thank you very much.
Guru.
All right. There we go. All right, here we go. All right. All right, we're back at the beginning.
All right, we see the audience. Who is that?
So, okay, we're back. Here we're back.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so we've got.
Your audio is totally garbled, Jim.
you see the audience.
Oh, my God.
Poor Carolyn. We can hear you saying, oh my God, Carolyn.
You see the slideshow.
Jim, we had all garbled audio and now we have nothing. to the Zoom attendee.
Uh,
Are you on the mic?
okay.
Hi, Rita. We could talk amongst ourselves.
Well, you know what? That's a good idea. Why don't we talk amongst ourselves?
Talk amongst yourselves while they're figuring out the audio. We could totally, like, I see their,
Right.
I see the Jim's screen, even if we can't hear him.
Did you answer a question when he said Mercury is going to go retrograde?
Yes,
in-
Mercury's in its shadow right now.
Okay.
It's been slowing to station. Let me get my little mini ephemeris out. I'll give you the dates exactly. I have them notated diligently as always.
You're so
Today
good.
is, what's today? The
Today's the 8th.
8th. It is the first quarter square of the moon. It's the 8th. Mercury has been in its shadow since April 25th. It is now May 9th. 8th rather, it's a first quarter square. It's been at 4 degrees for 4 days, and it's officially stations retrograde on the 11th.
Why did he have May 10th up?
Well, it's 10th, 11th. It's around about.
Okay.
It's
It's 4:47 a.m. And
You're-
that's when it goes retrograde.
appears retrograde.
It appears retrograde.
Yes, because it doesn't really go backwards. It just
Oh, yes,
appears
that's true.
to station
Alright.
retrograde. Hi, Jim.
Move it backwards.
All right.
I know I should. It always drives me crazy because Mercury is my ruling planet and I have to prepare for it. Everything sort of goes wacky.
Jim, sorry, your audio still sounds like Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Sorry, my friend.
There we go.
We decided
just-
to. Yes, I
Yes.
hear you, Rita.
Oh.
Can you hear me? Now can you hear me?
Uh,
I can't hear you, Katrina.
oh. All right, hang on.
I think he muted us all.
Okay,
You go, Mike.
okay, hang on. Okay, so do you see the slide? Anybody out there see the slideshow? I got you muted. Okay, do you see the slideshow? Let me try this again
No.
then. Hang on, I'm going to. Hang on.
Hey, Jim,
Yes,
we just got a phone call saying that.
all right, we're doing that again.
Let me connect this to the other side, because I think you have a
Okay.
connection issue.
All right.
The mouse, because I feel like that USB port is like issue.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello, out there in Zoom land?
What did you do?
Uh,
It's okay.
Yes.
You're hearing me? Yes?
Yes.
Yes? Are you hearing me? Yes?
Where's the Zoom control that was open?
Should be. Okay, hang on.
That Zoom control thing that popped up.
Yeah, I know, it's, yeah, I'm gonna get. Oh, come on. Why are you not getting big? Oh, here we go. I'm not sure what's going on here.
It's funny.
Can you hear him? Can you hear us? Hello?
Oh. Can you hear me? I just unmuted my button.
Okay, can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Can you unmute your button, Katrina? No, because I just unmuted mine.
Second. Jim, oh, there we go. He had everybody muted.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, I think we're back to business.
Okay.
Okay.
We still can't see your screens.
Okay, well,
There he is.
Okay, yeah, I was
the
muted
motorcycle.
for a while. Okay.
Over
I was
there.
muted there for a while so we could talk amongst ourselves and talk about the,
Here we go. All right. Can you hear me? Yes.
yes,
You see me? Yes.
no. We see a
Eh,
black screen and no
No.
screen share.
Yeah.
Carolyn is beaming in from the north with her northern lights. Rita, you're beaming in from where, Rita? Santa Monica?
Sherman Oaks.
Sherman Oaks? I'm by South Pass.
Jim,
We
we
can-
can see you. You're
you-
standing, right? We can see you
Yay!
in the cafe.
There's
May-
Jim standing.
Okay.
Yes, there you are.
Oh, man.
Do you?
We see you and hear you. Go on.
Yes. You see
A little.
me? You see?
I
You
see
see me,
you.
but you don't hear me.
I hear you. It's a little light.
Very
Very,
little.
very
little.
softly.
Mhm.
Poco.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
You
keep
can hear me
talking.
now. Are we
Barely.
Yeah,
okay? We
we
work
can
on that.
hear
Hang
you.
on.
Guess sounded getting better.
How's that? Is that
Much
better?
better.
Oh,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
better.
Okay.
Better.
Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
All right. We're making progress.
Now you're
All
frozen
right.
at the moment. You're frozen.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it's the
Mhm.
internet. It's slow-mo. This is a Mercury stationing kind of day.
Yes, sure is.
It's a Mercury in Gemini.
Ah,
It is. It is.
Wow.
It's very much so.
Jim, it sounds like you're talking in slow motion.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it the internet? We need to bring a hotspot for you if that's,
All right. So we're having technical
Jim, you have started sharing screen. If your audio is going to be that bad, Jim, we could talk through your chart. We could do it. We could talk through your slideshow. I think Rita and I could do it.
oh, no.
That would be outrageous, but we could totally do it. Right, Rita?
We could do what?
We could, if Jim's audio is so bad, he could play his slideshow and we could do the talk.
We could do, I have to leave soon.
Oh.
Yeah, my son's picking me up from out of state lunch.
Screen showing.
Your audio is still garbled, Jim. We need to get you a hotspot with a constant internet feed.
Yeah.
All right.
We see your screen, yes. But we're not seeing you, and that's okay.
Oh.
How do I use the symbols?
Yeah.
Audrey Lee is now the host.
Now we're back to you, us. We're back to us.
Audrey is now the host. Hey, oh, we lost his feed, or we lost his, we could still talk amongst ourselves here. Rita, you were saying that Mercury is the ruler of, is it the dispositor of your chart, or it's your ascendant ruler?
No, it's not my ascendant. It's,
Your ascendant ruler is the ruler of your chart.
okay, that's probably, I'm a Virgo.
Yeah.
So it's
No, Virgo rising or Virgo ascendant?
Virgo sun.
Oh no, what's your ascendant?
My ascendant, I was just looking at it. My ascendant is,
What house is your, do you have your chart handy?
yeah, I
Hold
just
it
took
up,
it
I'll
all out.
look at it.
I just took it all out. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Because
Uh-huh.
your sun, if your ascendant is in Gemini, then your chart ruler is Mercury. If your ascendant is in Virgo, then your chart ruler is Mercury, because it's the ruler of the sign. I wonder if
You
it's
just have
still-
a whole, oh, here it is.
you could actually hold up the chart. It's going to be in
there we go.
reverse. I had to write all
It'll
those
come back,
messages.
it'll come backwards. It'll be backwards on your screen.
I know. You're, oh gee, I can't see.
We're semi-connected.
Hard to see. I just wrote it down. My rising is Capricorn, my moon is Sag.
Saturn is your ruler. If your rising is Capricorn, the ruler of the chart is always the ascendant. The
Mhm.
ruler of your sun,
Right.
Virgo,
Yeah,
is Mercury, but your ruler of your chart is the ascendant ruler.
so the Capricorn,
Saturn is your ruler. You work for Saturn, baby. I am a Virgo
brother.
ascendant. I work for
but
Mercury.
no, my moon is Sag.
Your moon is Sagittarius. Well, that's it. Whatever the chart rule, like today, if we took a snapshot of this moment of the chart, the ruler of the ascendant, whatever sign is rising is the chart ruler.
Mhm.
So you work for Saturn. Carolyn, does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I have Pisces rising,
Right. So you work for Jupiter. You work for fun and pleasure and
creativity and
creativity.
So
and-
explain that again. So if my rising is Capricorn,
yes,
I work for whom?
Saturn.
but
Saturn is the ruler of your chart because the ascendant ruler is always the ruler of the chart. Now you can have a dispositor that's like who your planets answer to, but any chart ruler is like, say, if we look at the full moon eclipse on next weekend on the 15th,
Uh-huh.
depending on your location on planet Earth will depend on the ruler of the chart.
Mm.
For example, next the 15th, the ascendant will be in Los Angeles will be in Sagittarius.
ah,
So Sagittarius is ruled traditionally by Jupiter. So also I use the traditional rulers.
So
Jen,
I'm
we are
gonna,
back.
oh, I see, because mine is Neptune and Jupiter, I say. with
Yeah,
Pisces.
so Neptune, it would be the contemporary ruler, which a lot of people don't use at all. They don't use the modern planets for rulership
Really?
at all.
Oh,
They use the 2,000-year-old tradition of the traditional rulership.
okay, I kind of experience both. So,
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so, oh my goodness.
well, I'm trying to follow you, Katrina, but I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But-
whatever ascendant, say you
Right.
were a Leo rising. Who here is a Leo rising? Anyone? Patrita, what's your ascendant? Oh, you're on mute. Whatever, every sign has a ruler.
Okay,
Hello, can you hear
Hello,
us?
Jim?
Ascendant,
Oh,
my ascendant
You
is
can hear
Aquarius.
somebody's.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Jim
This
is
is Jim, do
jumping
you-
in. Yes,
Yes,
Jim is back.
Hey, is it pretty good?
We can hear you and see you
Awesome,
now.
thank you.
Yes, I can hear.
Yes.
Okay.
I am
Right.
going to let you know that I just got a text from my son. He's on the way to pick me up. So I'm just
Okay.
gonna say goodbye now. I may stay for 2 seconds, but I just want to
Okay.
say goodbye. Thank you. It's good to see you. Hopefully we'll be all on the
Okay,
same
Rita,
page
thank you
next-
for joining us
next
and a happy
month.
Mother's Day to you.
Thank you,
Yes.
dear. Okay, I'll stay here until I get
Okay.
this. I won't say anything. I'll just listen. Wait till I
Nice
get.
seeing you,
all this
Rita.
downstairs. Thanks, thanks,
Okay.
Katrina.
All right, so.
We
back
can hear
to
you,
the-
Jim. Thank you.
Hey,
do
we
you
can
see
hear
the
you,
slide?
Jim.
I see you. We saw you.
We
Now
see
we see
you.
Nada. We
Do
see
you
the
see what-
audience.
Okay, you're not seeing the slideshow. Okay,
No.
hang on.
No.
But that's okay. I mean, you could just talk. We have brains. We're
Yeah.
good.
Okay, well then, yeah, you watch and I'll run through the list here.
Yeah, just
Okay,
talk. We're good.
so, all right, so May 22nd, Mercury is going to return to Taurus. On May 24th, Mars enters Aries, and there will be 7 exact aspects that day, which could, of course, amp things up a bit. I think there's also 7 next Sunday on the 15th. So May 28th, Venus enters Taurus. May 29th, there are again 7 exact major aspects. And that I'm not including Chiron, and I'm not including inconjuncts. So pretty busy, hectic day there. May 30th, we have a new moon at 9 Gemini. For those of you who are keeping track on your chart. June 3rd, 1 a.m. Mercury stations direct 26 Taurus 5, which zodiacally is conjunct the fixed star Algol. Don't
Oh,
anybody
boy.
lose your head over. Don't lose your head over it, literally or figuratively. And then on the afternoon of the June 4th, Saturn will station retrograde at 25 Aquarius 15. And then June 12th is our Santa Monica Hybrid Astrology Meetup. Okay, that's that. Okay, moving on. Here we go. Where's the next chart? We're gonna...
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. As always, I will make a PDF out of this, and if you want a copy of it, I'll send it to you. It'll be posted on our, it'll be uploaded to the Facebook page. And since I can't do things like that with Meetup anymore, if you're not part of the Facebook or you want me to send you a copy, drop me an email and I will send it to you.
Okay.
Quick history. The history of degree symbols or uses of symbols traces back hundreds of years. Well, actually, probably about 3 millennia or more. The Egyptians created a system of symbols for each day of the year. Ancient Greeks used symbols for each degree. The earliest recorded degree system dates back to Pietro di Abano, who lived from 1257 to 1315 AD. Modern degree systems can be traced back to the work of Charabel. That was what he called himself. His name is really John Thomas, late 1800s. And Cephariel, Charles Gorn, who was a late 19th, early 20th century astrologers. Both of them are, you may have heard of Charabel or Cephariel. The Sabian symbols were divined or created at Balboa Park in San Diego in 1925 by astrologer Mark Edmund Jones and psychic L.C. Wheeler. Basically, he had 365, or 360 rather, note cards. On each card, he had written a degree and then placed face down. And then LC basically just, picked up a card and gave a symbol psychically without looking at what degree it was. So there isn't necessary. Sometimes you may notice how within a certain sign, certain degrees may seem to relate to each other. Often they don't. So the symbols have been used, reinterpreted by Dane Rudyer, Linda Hill, Martin Goldsmith, and others. Today, the most popular would seem to be the interpretations of Linda Hill, who has a nice website. And I've got a link for that as part of the slideshow. The premise of degree symbol systems is that there's an energetic aspect of each section, and trying to tap into this unique energetic imprint. Sometimes in interpreting, some people will just use the decadence or the 10-degree blank. Some use doads, which is 2.5 degrees, taking each sign of 30 degrees and breaking it down into 12 2.5-degree segments. Others are based on each degree. So let's see what we got here. I jumped around a bit. Okay, so for myself, I really got started using it when I started playing around with rectification of birth times. I find that it can be very helpful in narrowing down a birth time, particularly when you're looking at the symbol for the degree of the ascendant. And the technique I use is when I get it down to within 2 or 3 degrees, then I will ask the client, I say, here's 3 symbols. Which one do you relate to the most? And typically that's the one then that keys in on their actual birth time. Where they don't have an idea what their birth time is, say, maybe they know it's in the morning, maybe it's in the afternoon, they really don't know. Sometimes I've used dowsing to help me narrow it down. You can, if you may be able to, by talking with them, get a sense of what their rising sign probably is, but that's still going to give you a 30-degree span to try to break it down some more. But still, you can use the degree symbols to help kind of zero in on that actual birth time by using the symbol for the ascendant. Now, there's another way of using them is for house systems. Placidus and Koch seem to be the most popular type, along with whole sign. And but with Placidus and Koch, for example, you'll have different degrees. They're not the houses are not equal in size. And so what you can do is, if you look at pick one of the house cusps other than the ascendant, for example, and check the degree symbol for that house cusp and compare it between the symbol for, say, Placidus and Koch. And do that with several of the, do it with each of the houses. And the one that seems to give you the best relatable symbols may well be the house system that you should focus on. I'm not saying that use it exclusively, I'm saying focus on, because well, I typically use Koch. I will also use Placidus if that's what people like or prefer. For events such as mundane astrology, I look at the main relevant points: the ascendant, the sun, and the moon. What are the symbols for those? Then, depending upon what the event is or what the subject matter is, I may focus on other planetary points or house cusps. I started doing this many years ago. In fact, I don't know, probably, what is this, 22? So it must be, did a presentation for the LH. And I was looking at 12th house stuff. And I found that looking at the chart for the start of the second Iraq War, which was March 20th of 2003 at, let's see if I can read the small print here, like 6:35 a.m. Baghdad time. It gave some interesting symbols that pretty much that were very prophetic, and really, I looked at them and I said, this is not going to be a short one. This is going to last. Of course, a lot of people could have probably figured that out anyway, but still. For example, the midheaven for the chart was for Capricorn 59. The symbol for the Sabian symbol for Capricorn, which is really the 5th degree of Capricorn, since 0 is the 1st degree, is Indians rowing a canoe and dancing a war dance. That seems to go along with the idea of starting a war, doesn't it? Mars, God of War, was at 9 Capricorn 41. The symbol for that degree was an albatross feeding from the hand of a sailor. Well, most people have heard the expression, got an albatross around your neck. It's kind of like some heavy weight, something holding you back, dragging you down. So there's our albatross source. The South Node, 1 Sag 22, white caps on the ocean. North Node was 1 Gemini 22. Santa Claus filling stockings furtively, as in, you know, he's not like smiling and happy. Oh, here you go. This is for you. Like, oh God, I hope they don't think I'm stealing stuff. You know, white cap, stormy sea. But the key for me, I think, was the degree of the sun, which was 29 Pisces. And the symbol was the Great Stone Face. Now, how many of you have heard of the Great Stone Face in, I think it's what, Vermont or New Hampshire? It's a natural rock outcrop that looks like the profile of a man's face. And the problem was 6 weeks after we attacked Iraq, the face was gone. It had sometime within a 2 weeks period there, it crumbled, it fell. Not necessarily a positive sign, I wouldn't think either, where the Great Stone Face. This is stone, it's stable, it's not supposed to do that. It's a pile of rocks now at the bottom of the cliff. So all of that pretty much clued me in that this was not going to go well for us. It certainly wasn't going to be quick. And we all know pretty much what happened. There were no weapons of mass destruction other than the ones we had. And so we moved on from, let's see, we'll move on from there. Here we go. For starting points, look at the big three, sun, moon, and the ascendant. The sun is only going to move about a degree a day. So it's either going to be depending on the time of day, it may have gone from like 2 to 3 degrees of a sign, but you're really only going to be looking at typically 2 different possible symbols if you're trying to adjust for a time frame. But if you're just trying to get a sense of what's going on, you look at those 3 images and make a story out of it. There's a story, a theme of some sort that goes with those 3 images. Consider Saturn. We think of Saturn as a heavyweight, but the reality is Saturn is the least dense of all the planets. But that's deceptive. And we don't think of Saturn as being deceptive, but in some ways he can be. Consider if you're dealing with an individual, look at the degree for the prenatal solar eclipse, the solar eclipse prior to birth. That is a sensitive point. Transits to that degree can set things off. If you meet somebody who has their sun close to that degree, you may well feel some sort of a connection, a strong attraction or something. Don't forget you can look at the midheaven depending, or Pluto. So it kind of depends on where you're going with your investigation. If you're just looking at doing a natal chart, you start with the big 3. Look at the nodes, look at the prenatal eclipse. With the nodes, I personally use the true nodes, and depending upon the situation, I may give greater weight to the south node or to the north node, depending upon what I'm dealing with, the situation or question is. Am I talking about the past, things that they may have brought with them into the life, or am I talking about something that may be coming up in the future? If we're looking at the now and the future, then I'm going to be looking at the north node more so than the south node. Now, when you're thinking about adding other points, such as any of the myriad asteroids out there, check the degree symbol for where it's placed in your chart, and see if you relate to it. And if it connects with you, if you connect with the symbol and the mythology of that asteroid, whatever the name of the asteroid might be, then you're probably a good idea to have it in your chart and see what happens. But if you can't relate to the symbol and you're not really relating to the mythology of it, then why are you putting it in there? Just because it is doesn't mean it's going to be important for you. Now, reading symbols can be a little confusing because it kind of depends on or the person. Okay, so for example, they're numbered 1. Most of the time they'll number them 1 to 30. with 1 being 0 degrees of the sign and 30 being 29 degrees of the sign. Keep in mind the 29th degree, 29 Virgo is the 30th degree of the sign. 1 Virgo, is actually the 2nd degree of Virgo, not the first. The first is 0 Virgo. So in some cases, what you would do is you would round it up depending on how you're doing it. Now, the Linda Hill's website, Sabian Symbols, is really handy because you go in and you click on the sign, and then you go down and you click on the degree, and you click on the actual number of the degree. So if you're looking for something at 10 Virgo, you click on Virgo, and then you click on the 10, and it will tell you about that degree because it automatically bring up the 11th degree of the sign. Because the 10th, if you're looking at the 10th degree of the Virgo, of the sign is actually the 9 something because of 0. So those are the things you have to keep in mind. Some of them actually do go 0 to 29. Most of them go 1 to 30. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're doing it. And the other thing, of course, is the symbols themselves. Some of the Sabian symbols can be a little challenging to relate to because they were created almost 100 years ago, 1925. Some of the other systems are even a little older than that. So some of those symbols just may not relate well. Dane Rudger's book, when he reinterprets the Sabian symbols, is really pretty good because he did it. It's afterwards, and so he's kind of updated them a little more modern. In some ways, you can think of the degree symbols as similar to the tarot cards. You pick up a tarot deck and you look at some of the cards, and maybe you really connect with the cards, the images, or maybe you don't, because the images is just like, I don't relate to, I had a problem relating to the Rider-Waite deck because they're all medieval periods, or that imagery. It's like, I'm not real keen on 10 swords, Don't know about swords so much, haven't really used one much. So keep things like that in mind as you're playing around with them. Where's the chart? Oh, here we go. Okay, so first chart up is the United States Sibley chart. Key points are the ascendant, which is Sabian symbol for that is a widow's past brought to light. Now on the slides, I included a definition also from another degree symbol system called the Inside Degrees by Elias Lonsdale. And there's a website that you can go to and pull those up as well. That's why I used it. And for that same degree, the symbol is an embalmer at work on a mummy. So how would I look at this? Well, first off, most countries are thought of as being feminine. So, okay, widow makes sense. We have with all of our history of wars, we've got a lot of widows. Past being brought to life. Yeah, or brought to light. It's, things that have happened, our past keeps coming up for us. History of slavery, history of abuse, the treatment of the indigenous populations, treatment of different ethnic groups.
Hey, Jim, what is the degree that you're talking about, the body embalmer?
That's 12 Sag. It's the 12 Sag 21.
Thank you.
The ascendant of the Sibley chart.
Thank you. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so that's the 13th degree of Sagittarius.
Exactly.
Okay. So looking at the moon, for example, the moon is 27 Aquarius. The Sabian symbol is a tree felled and sawed. Okay, so you cut the tree down and you saw it into manageable chunks, but you're not done with it yet. The inside degree symbol is a tapestry loom. On it is a half-finished tapestry. So it's like things aren't done yet. Consider if you could think about the ideal principles that America was founded on, okay, we're not there yet. The choice of freedom of religion, everybody's the equality of everybody. Yeah, we're not there. And unfortunately, lately it seems like we're taking a few steps backwards. So, but that's just my humble opinion. The sun at 13 Cancer, so the 14th degree of Cancer, the Sabian symbol is a very old man facing a dark space to the northeast. And I thought about that one a little bit and I said, well, let's see. Okay, so the colonies were basically along the eastern seaboard. Northeast of them, east-northeast would be England. Seems like most of the founding fathers we would probably think of as old men, even though they may not have been that old when it all started. And so you've got these older established men in the colonies looking back to England and deciding that, you know what, we're tired of this and we're going to change things. Now, the inside degree symbol for that is a dried up stream bed covered with smooth rocks. Well, gee whiz, I mean, right now we're in a mega drought out here for like 20 years, so things are drying up. In some ways, you could even look at that as how we have evolved as a country in terms of, are we really fulfilling the intent of the founding fathers? And some, really, I think we've come up short. We're not creating a ideal modern country. I mean, think about it. The United States is considered the most advanced country in terms of economically, we're number one. Yet we don't have the best healthcare in the world. We don't have the best child care. We don't have a lot, we don't deal with homelessness and poverty and the
Are you
environment.
talking, Jim, about the moon degree? What was the degree?
I'm talking about the degree of the sun.
Okay, we don't have your
13.
list in front of you.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Sibley chart, and that's the degree of
Yeah.
the sun, which is 13 to 14 Cancer. And that's a
Yes.
blank stream bed?
Yeah, the inside degree symbol is a dried up stream bed covered with smooth rocks.
Thank you.
The Sabian symbol is a very old man facing a dark space to the northeast. So those are the big things I looked at there. Let me move on here. Let's see. I got the Mercury. I'm not going to dwell on it. There's a chart for the lunar eclipse coming up. I don't want to dwell on them because we've got some bi-wheels I want to talk about. Chart, as near as I could ascertain, when Politico first indicated the leak of the Supreme Court draft decision on Roe v. Wade. And I know that a lot of people claim, oh my God, how could this happen? This never happened before. Sorry, it has. The original Roe v. Wade decision itself was also leaked. So yeah, leaked decisions are not new. They're not unheard of. And it's not criminal. So based on a May 2nd chart at like 8:32 p.m. Eastern Time, Washington, D.C., the ascendant degree is 19 Scorpio 29, I think it is, looks like. And the symbol for the 20th degree of Scorpio, Sabian symbol, a woman drawing two dark curtains aside, as if to reveal something. The inside degree symbol, a serpent wrapped around an immense egg. That's the inside degree. It's a different degree symbol system, similar to the Sabian symbols, just different ones. Food for thought. Okay. The ascendant degree, there I can see it much better if I look at the big screen. 19 Scorpio 29 is the current position of the heliocentric south node of Mars. 19 Scorpio, the accursed degree of the accursed sign. So think of Mars, think of the nodes, think of the south node. It's the past. It's what's gone before, and it's coming back up again. We're dealing with issues that we had long figured were set in stone and resolved, but they're not. Sabian symbol for the south node, which is 22 Scorpio, is a bunny metamorphosed into a fairy. The Sabian symbol, and the inside degree is a collection of dolls, which may make you think happy thoughts or not necessarily happy thoughts, because dolls, like clowns, can be scary. Yeah, well, there's the dollhouse, yes, but it makes me think of spooky, creepy, possessed dolls. So that's where my mind goes. Okay, I want to move along here. Oops, okay, here we go. Okay, so here's a bi-wheel for the US Sibley chart on the inside, and the chart for the SCOTUS leak, the leak of the draft opinion on Roe v. Wade on the outside. One key point that shows stuff of them is that we have transiting moon is applying to a conjunction with US Uranus, and transiting Chiron is almost exactly opposite natal Saturn, or Saturn of the US Sibley chart. Spencer, you want to take over from here? Come. Take the mic. My arm is getting tired. Okay. People's kids. Okay.
Can you guys all hear me? When I first looked at this chart, the thing that bothered me was that we had a problem here. If you look at the inside of the Sibley chart and the position of Saturn in transit, the first thing I think it gives us, as we look at these charts, is we're in for a big change of things, because that's going to back and forth as retrograde and then direct. And so we have to, first of all, this is a time of huge changes in our chart, huge changes. And so the first thing you have to be kind of aware, we don't know where the next thing is going to happen. With here, we were thinking that we hit the dead end. We had a war in Ukraine, and we saw terrible Plutonian kinds of positions. That's incredible. And it hit us too. It gave us inflation. So that's just one way of looking at that. The other ways of taking a good, strong look at this is to look at where we have, excuse me, the moon. I think that moon is conjunct Uranus at that time. And so, on one hand, the moon is always considered a kind of a concept of femininity, domesticity, and, worrying about people's emotional set, worrying about your emotional set. And notice that it's in Gemini. This is a thing that came for us through Gemini. It just dropped on our head, and there it was. And it affects changing the way that we look at motherhood. This is, the moon is really a sense of the way we deal with our emotions, but most of all, it's the mother. It's the aspect of where our emotional placement is. And so if you look at that, you realize, my goodness, that's also another real big indicator of what's going on and how that is working. The other thing I think is that if you look at the Saturn position and the position of Saturn in the chart. Now, a Saturn at 14 degrees of Taurus is in an exact quincunx to the degree of the founding fathers. Now, what could that possibly mean? What's a quincunx? Who cares about a quincunx? 150 degrees. A lot of people, it's not a Ptolemaic symbol. All Ptolemaics have not, they all have to be on definite things. This is a 150-degree angle. And the way it works is that it takes you into a place of discomfort. It takes you into a place where you have to really wonder if you have the right way to get through this. I often tell clients that this is a place where sometimes you're in kind of a fog and you wonder, what should I do with my next step? And I say, well, you got to consider yourself like a pilot. It's foggy. You don't know what's going on, but you've got to get through this to get to where the sunshine is. And the way to do that is look at the steady things in you, just like a pilot would look at the steady things that you have in your instruments. So my feeling is do as best you can and work with the safest ways you can, always having as your goal to resolution of this angle that brings two different signs, which only are working with things that they're not normally working with each other in Ptolemaic astrology. So when you look at that, what's happened to the United States with this? The United States has had a huge hit on its Saturn. And the concept, we have the founding fathers had a lot of problems besides doing a lot of good things. A black person was 3/5 of a person in counting people. On the other hand, though, they did a lot of good things too. They wanted to be fair about, pursuit of happiness. We want to be independent. We want to have a dream. We have situations where we want to have freedom of speech. All of these things, I think in one way you can look at is Saturn trying to be equal. Saturn trying to make us think of a situation. And remember, the sign for Libra is the balance. One thing we can say that the founding fathers wanted to do was build a new system, a republic, which had built into it certain balances. That's why we have a whole, supposed to be a good symbol. We have the legislative branch, we have the judicial branch, and then we have the executive branch. They're not teaching that in high school anymore. I don't. So here we have a place where, because of Uranus being quincunx to that, all of these things that we take as ground principles of the United States are, in fact, challenged. And so one of the things that bothered me is that you have the Saturn dancing back and forth, Pluto, I mean, this is a time of really key events, a time of real issues. And I think that we're in a time now where it's a very, very difficult situation for us. And the other aspect of it here is that the whole way that we look at the chart and we think of Taurus, the Taurus sun with a Uranus, and that is in the 5th house. Now, the 5th house is a sign of creativity. It's a sign of getting together with things. We have to understand it. So here we have the sun is in a fixed sign. Fixed signs are Earth. They want to make things happen. They have a certain set of things. They're also very involved with Tauruses, like real big things. They're ruled by Venus. They like beauty. But basically, they also like steadiness. Taurus is a very steady sign. And here we have Uranus there in Taurus with the sun, creating the problems it is with the US chart, and also what it's doing wherever you have this conjunction in your personal chart. It's a time to take a real careful look. And I think if you look at those aspects, you're going to come to a really strong situation. The other aspects that I think are pretty important is that we have to always look at where Chiron is and what's Chiron up to. And here we have Chiron at, I think that's saying 14 degrees of Aries. That's 14 degrees of Aries. And what is Chiron? Chiron is also opposing the Saturn. So the wound that the wound that we have and are carrying in the United States are huge wounds that the founding fathers left us. The whole result of the slave trade, the whole concept of capitalism, the whole Jim brought up a huge, great number of things about childcare and all the things that we should have, which other countries have. And so this is also, I think, a time where our Chiron is reflecting on the Saturn events that are occurring to us. And I think this is something that is also symbolic of what's going on in this country. And I think, here's my hope. I hope the women are strong enough to stand up, march in the street, fight for these rights. Now, let me give you a little sermon. I'll give the microphone back to you. But I know, but I'm going to leave and you'll have the whole stage to yourself. Now. So, no, that's good. But, you know, I'm 78 going on 79. All right. So I go back to when we had abortion outlawed. Abortion was illegal. People had, we fought in the streets for that. We marched on that. The whole woman movement came out of that. And all of these leaders came up and we got it changed. Because in my generation, if you want an abortion, it was a big nuisance. I mean, it was a catastrophic problem. Now, to confess something of my own, in my happy-go-lucky college years, I happened to get a young woman pregnant. And the thing that we had to do was find some way to get some doctor, because we wanted a doctor. We didn't want to go to some clinic where you don't know what they're doing. And so it took us a while and we found a doctor and I had to, you know, you really have to pay a lot of money and I had to sell a few things of my own. And the point of it is, this is what the woman had to go through. We drove her to a spot and dropped her off, okay? They drove up and they had one of these cars that have, you know, the windows are darkened, you know, it's, what do they call that? Yeah, and so anyway, she's picked up, taken to a place she doesn't know what, goes in, has the abortion, given back and taken to this part, and we'll pick her up. They call us from there. There's no cell phones, but they call us. So we zip down to the spot and pick her up. Now, you've got to realize that that was quite a bit of work. And let's look at the other side. What if we couldn't get an abortion and we had to go through hell to get it? Well, then what would happen to me in my career? In terms of, I went to graduate school. I had a future for myself all worked out. She was in school and she wanted to be a teacher, and that would she would have a bad road to go too. So when we talk about Chiron opposing our Saturn, this is something to really think of and come to a conclusion. I've talked too much here, Jim.
No, you never talk too much. Yeah, and you know, Chiron is going to do the retrograde dance, and it's going to dance over Saturn three times. The other thing I want to point out was it February 20th, the United States had its first Pluto return. And there's two more scheduled, July 11th and December 28th, I think it is. So pretty much everything that happens this year and on into next year, it all has a fundamental base connection to that Pluto return. Remember, Pluto, if you think of it like the bulldozer, it changes things. It transforms things from what they are. The intent is to make them into, give us the opportunity to make them into what they should be. Dane Rudger uses the word purity to describe Pluto in terms of the transformation. Because when we talk transformation, what do we mean? Is it good transformation, bad transformation? Who knows? But the reality is, I think that Pluto wants us to become the best version of ourselves that we can be, the version we're supposed to be. And that's true for countries, other entities, businesses, and everything, you know. So that Pluto return is very dramatic. It lasts, well, like I say, it's from exact to exact, it's 11 months from the first one to the last one. If you use any kind of an orb of a degree or two for conjunctions, then it's going to, it started before and it's going to continue on after. It'll be a while before Pluto gets past that point. So when you think of things, think of everything also, but in connection to the Pluto transit. And yeah, I mean, if you look back historically to how America was when it was initially established, there was considerable discussion and debate within the selected officials, all of whom were landowners, wealthy landowners, because you had to own property in order to qualify to run for a office. And they basically, early on, you had to own property in order to be able to vote. And of course, only men were allowed to vote at that point. There was well, yes, white men. Freemen, yeah, maybe if you had property, you could. But yeah, mostly, for the most part, we were talking about the white men, white male property owners. They were the ones. Yeah, and if you think about it, how much has that really changed? Well, when you look at the Republican Party, it's like, huh? Why don't you just call yourselves Southern Democrats? I mean, that's what they've become. I mean, if they think of themselves as the party of Lincoln, then they're totally misdirected, because it's not the party of Lincoln. But yeah, it's going a whole another way. So let's see what other charts we got here. Okay, so here's a chart for the first Pluto return. The Sabian symbol for Pluto, which is 27 Capricorn 33, is a large aviary. Aviary. That's a big cage with a bunch of birds in it. Okie dokie. Are they turkeys and eagles or what? Because I remember originally, yeah, because Ben Franklin thought the turkey should be our national bird. Wouldn't that be fun? The inside degree symbol is a mirror covered with a fine film of dust. That suggests to me that it has been too long since we have taken a good hard look at ourselves, either as individuals or as a country. And what were the guiding principles? What was the intent? Yeah, I can see a point with some of the extreme groups, their desire for freedom and the right to their own beliefs and choices. That's what America's founded on. For me, where it becomes problematic is when they try to enforce those on others. They won't give others the same right or privilege that they demand for themselves sometimes. So that's, for me, an issue. Yeah. Yeah, they said they didn't do what they said. Now, what's interesting too, let's see, here we go. The Mercury at that time is at 6 Aquarius, which is conjunct the USA South Node. Sabian symbol, a child born out of an eggshell. Well, you can't, once the hen's laid the egg, you can't put the egg back in the hen. Yeah, the inside degree is a woman burning a book of black magic. Well, what some people called black magic was simply natural medicine. It's interesting how, during normal times, they might go to this old woman who may live off on the edge of the woods or something and has, knows the value of the natural plants and herbs, and they'll go to her for treatment and for whatever ails them. But then if something goes wrong, if something bad happens, they turn and look at that same person and call it witch. Which are you? Black magic. Yes, and yes, there is black magic, but I don't know that most witches practice black magic. That's the 6 Aquarius, which is Mercury and the US South Node. It's the Sibley chart has this, the south node was at 6 Aquarius when the United States was formed on July 4th of 1776.
Hey, Jim, can I jump in with one interpretation about that
Just a-
black
okay.
magic?
Just a second, we got a question here. Yeah, comment, go ahead.
No, no, I just, it's really not connected, but that image there, of the woman is, the Roe versus Wade in some states. is,
Yes,
Then there's back alley abortions, those kind of women you're talking about are also abortions.
yes. Yeah. I have a comment to make about that. Yeah, okay, go, Kat, go ahead.
Oh, what's the Sabian symbol about black magic? Would you read it one more time?
That's the inside degree symbol for the 6 Aquarius.
What does it read?
It says a woman burning a book of black magic.
A woman burning a book of black magic. Okay, so I love the work of Caroline Casey, who says that colonialist nations, imperialist nations actually need the medicine of the people that they conquer. And if we are needing the medicine of black magic,
Yeah.
and we're in the midst of burning it, and have been for 400
Yeah.
years, we're really needing the insight, ingenuity, diversity, respect for the orishas that govern all of the elements of all of the earth, and actually that relate to all of the planets, whether it's Ogun is Mars, and Yemaya is the moon, and Oshun is Venus, that we need the genius of that indigenous wisdom actually to heal us.
Pluto return ascendant is 24 Cancer. The Sabian symbol for that is a leader of men wrapped in an invisible mantle of power.
Uh-oh, Jim, your audio just cut out. Your audio, Jim, just froze. Video froze and audio cut out. Hello, hello. Oh no, I think we lost Jim. Jim, can you hear us? Did anyone catch that Sabian symbol? Petrita, did you hear it?
Last thing I had was 25 degrees of Cancer.
That was the moon. Oh, Audrey Lee, you're now the host. Audrey, did you hear the, you're on mute, Audrey. Are you still around? 25 Cancer is the moon.
I didn't hear. He cut off at the same time we all heard. So yeah, I didn't.
Okay. Was this this was because we don't have the visuals. That's why I was asking. Oh, could you say the degree again and read it one more time, since I don't have the chart in front of me. Was this the chart for the eclipse coming up with the DC location?
I'm not sure, really.
Oh, you didn't catch it?
No.
Petrita or Carolyn, did you catch it?
What I
Mark.
understood was the return. But
Oh,
I
the
would
Pluto
like to
return.
hear it again. I would like to hear it again. 'Cause
Yeah, the Pluto return. Lily or Mark or any other attendees, Dina, are someone is Catherine Sharpley. Did anybody catch the chart he was talking about, the Pluto return for the US? That he was talking about those Sibley points? Carolyn, do you know? Carolyn, do you know which chart he was talking about? Oh, well, no one knows. That's unusual. Did we all go to sleep? Huh. All right. Oh no, Jim, we have lost you. Yeah, I was having a hard time following because the audio cut out. Petrita, do you want to talk about the points since you're here and I'm here? Does anybody want to talk? I mean, I could pull up the chart. Or Audrey, do you have the chart? Since you're the host, you could share screen.
No, I'm sorry. No, it's just been kind of confusing the whole day. So I'm sorry. I'm kind of lost.
You're kind of lost.
Mm.
Okay. I think he was talking about the Pluto return too. Oh, well, it's been a very problematic tech day. I actually pulled up the Sibley chart. What's the Pluto return date? Oh, it's actually 3 hits this year, right? Who's got the dates handy? I can pull it up. You could pull it up and share your screen, Audrey.
The dates for the Pluto return is February 20th, July 11th, and December 28th.
Thank you for having that handy. Okay, let me do the select that date, July 28th,
Very
2022.
hard to follow conference today. Very hard to follow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know what? I actually follow fine because I pulled up all the charts that Jim was discussing.
Oh, I don't have them.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I have the Sibley chart in my software system, so I can pull up any date. So Sibley chart, and I'll set the date for, what did you say, July 22nd, 2022? No, July 11th? I could figure
July
it out.
11th, February 20th, July 11th, and December 28th.
2022 is the question?
2022.
Thank you. Okay. Actually, Audrey, if you pull it up, if you can make me the host and I can share my screen. That way we could look at the points.
Okay, hold on.
Or I don't know if you can or cannot.
I checked the share screen, so try it.
You have to make me the host. You're the host. You have to make me the host.
Yeah, it says allow participants to share screen, and I checked that.
Bingo.
So you should be able to do it right now.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just have one quick software pulled up and I can show it. Now I'm not going to have the Sibley. I don't have the Sabian symbols handy, but we could at least look at the chart. Okay, I am now the show host. I don't know if it's still recording. Let me share screen.
It says recording. Yeah.
Bingo. Basic. Share. Let me see if you can see that. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, I've got Sibley chart, Thursday, July 4th, 1776, Philadelphia, 5:10 p.m. And I've got the transits. I've got this, it just was a chart that I had handy. Can you all see? Carolyn, can you see? We can't hear you. Audrey, can you see my chart, shared screen?
Yes.
And Patricia?
Yes.
Okay, great. I don't have all this. Do you have the Sibley points handy, Audrey?
No, I don't.
Okay. But we can look at this. I thought I'd pull up thanks, Patrita, for pulling up those 3 dates. I mean, they're all Pluto's, appears to move direct, retrograde, and direct again, which is why we have those 3 hits. So this is the 3rd in its retrograde connection. And you can see that small retrograde. Does anyone have any thoughts about they wanted to share? Audrey, about this or the whole Pluto return? Anybody? Patrita, do you have things to share? Your mute is on. And Audrey, do you have idea, or Carolyn?
It's affecting it could affect the economy because it's in the 2nd house.
Yeah, it's at the tail end of this. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Depending, I have this in Placidus. If it was in whole house system, it would
2nd
also be in
and
the
3rd, yes.
2nd house. Well, right now it's in the 2nd house. Either way you slice it.
I would consider it an opposition to Mercury, which is the descendant. So that could bring some dissolution of relationships.
Mercury is not on the descendant. Uranus is. Mercury's up here in the seventh.
Mercury is the ruler of Gemini.
Yes. Why did you bring up Mercury as the ruler of Gemini?
Mercury is the ruler of Gemini and is in opposition to Pluto. So that could bring dissolution of relationships, of allies, of people that have been in partnership. That's what I can.
Oh, yeah. Well, that certainly has to do with the theme that we've been seeing in the lead up to the Pluto return. In terms of, we've seen this north and south split. We had this kind of precognition of the eclipse, the great American eclipse that cut north from south. We're seeing this whole, as Jim, just to, continue Jim's last sentence that I heard him say was this Southern Democrat nation, or Southern Republican. What did he call it? The Republican Party is no longer Lincoln's party, but the Southern Congressional Party.
It's like a Democrat. That's what I heard.
Oh,
What do you mean by Sibley chart?
Sibley is Ebenezer Sibley is the astrologer who defined this chart in the 1800s for the United States birth chart. That so Ebenezer Sibley, Sibly, is the name of the astrologer.
Oh, okay.
And there's also there's a number of charts. This one is used the most, and Cornelia will argue a different time, a different chart, which is interesting but useful. Carolyn, do you want to add anything, or Audrey, or Lily? Who else is here? You have to unmute yourself. Catherine Sharpley, Dina Petrosian. Carolyn, you could speak. Your microphone's off. Audrey, what do you have anything to say? Ask to unmute.
Oh, hey, thank you. Yeah, thank you. But I've been really trying to stay out of the politics this whole year.
Well, it's not political, but it's just like a commentary of what do you
No,
see the United States,
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, what themes? Oh, I hear what you're saying. Alrighty. Does anybody else want to chime in?
Can't hear me.
Oh, I can hear you now, Carolyn.
You can? I have my microphone keeps falling out. Well, I'm just, I wanted to say that 27, no, wait a minute. Okay, 13 Cancer for the US Sibley chart.
For the sun.
I could read real quick the Sabian symbol from Mark Edmund Jones.
Oh, fantastic.
It says one hand slightly flexed with a very prominent thumb. This is a symbol of that belief in his inherent supremacy over all other orders of nature, by which man is characterized most fundamentally.
Wow.
Dramatized by his quite normal confidence in his ability to deal with every eventuality of day-by-day activity and relationship, a little bit more. Any individual must rule his environment or surrender his own potentialities forever. Here is practicality brought to the point of ruthlessness.
Yep.
The key word is determination. When positive, the degree is exceptional steadiness and a high sense of self-responsibility in every issue of the moment. When negative, unnecessary aggressiveness and a self-defeating short-sightedness. These are kind of interesting.
That's fantastic. That's for the sun in Cancer, 13 to 14 degrees. And that's Mark Edmund Jones.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That is like the United States history in a nutshell, isn't it? It came, European colonialists and imperialists came to North and South America with this, what is that term for Western expansion without bounds?
Oh.
Help us, everyone.
What is
Go ahead. But it's that theory that that mistranslation of the Bible from ancient language and Aramaic, and that man will have dominion over all of the earth and all of its creatures. And it was really a mistranslation and a misappropriation of the languaging of religious texts. And so it has that sensibility of this westward expansion of, the authority to take over all indigenous lands and people. And we're absolutely at this crux point where we're trying to figure out how we would like to vote, you know, in the future. How would we like to more eloquently write a new constitution, reestablish new value system? And I think that's
Right.
probably what we're at this crux, this conjunction point of, you know, returning Pluto return as an assessment of that incredible power, not just on the soil, but westward expansion throughout the world.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's like, this is
Feels
exactly
like
where
it.
we are. Right? It feels just, it's like, you know, we're frustrated with the moment, but it has many, you know, hundreds of years of
Yeah.
this narrative. And we're at the place where we are finally talking about reparations to African Americans, reparations to indigenous peoples. Biden pulled out of Afghanistan. He's made a step to not be involved very much financially with the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Very little funding is going into Ukraine defense, if you look at it in comparison to Afghanistan and Iraq war spending. So this retraction of energetic powers from world global expansion by the US back to its own soil,
Right.
because we have enough problems here to it, I think.
Yes,
Patrita, speak to it, especially, you know.
yes, we have enough problems here. I mean, the homeless problem in
Oh.
California is outrageous. We should start from home, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Charity starts from home.
Right. And also, you know, and that's an issue that was built upon economic injustice. And land rights injustice. We wouldn't have the kind of poverty we have if we had more egalitarian systems that protected all people with more egalite, fraternité, liberty, equality, fraternity, sorority.
Oh. You want to hear the Capricorn 27?
Absolutely. What's Capricorn 27? Oh, that's
Kevin,
the Pluto point of
that's the
please.
Pluto return.
Oh, Carolyn, please. What a great idea.
Like my phone keeps, hopefully my sound stays. Okay, it says here, Capricorn 27, a mountain pilgrimage. This is a symbol of a pyramiding reality on the side of inner or spiritual realization in a complete harmony of all the ideals and values ever developed by man. Here is an indomitable integrity of human comprehension and an intensification of every vision to which intelligence might aspire. The individual is encouraged to hold unswervingly to the ultimate course he has chosen for himself. The key word is perseverance. When positive, the degree is a total reconciliation of mind and heart in an unquestioned devotion to some worthwhile task at hand. And when negative, satisfaction in superficial allegiances and a parade of false virtue. Could you hear that?
Yeah, totally. I totally did.
Yeah,
That was fantastic.
These are pretty
That-
powerful things.
That was fantastic. So it's really like, if I had to distill it down to 2 or 3 or 4 words, it's about what are our values? Yes, which has to do with the second house. What do we value? What do we create up from the bootstraps? What really, what do we earn? And now these are the Mark Edmund Jones Sabian symbols, which I don't use. I actually use the Elsie Wheeler originals, but I love that interpretation. I just thought I would contrast it with the Elsie Wheelers.
Yeah.
I pulled it up on my cell phone. Cafe Astrology has a lovely page and just lists. So yeah, the Elsie Wheeler. I mean, there's a ton of programs that'll do it too if you have another software. But for 27 to 28 degrees Capricorn, I thought I would just share that, since you're sharing the Mark Edmund Jones. And this one is very interesting. Ooh. And it's 27 to 28, and Jim mentioned it, is a large aviary. An aviary is a zoo for birds that's the size of a monstrous
That's
building.
what this says, a large aviary, 28, yeah.
Okay, okay. So, but if you would just look at that, I mean, what is the value of an aviary? It's a large cage of beautiful creatures, of birds specifically. And why would you put birds in a cage? It's cruel. So there's like this inherent sadism in that symbol as well.
Mhm.
It's pretty interesting.
Ooh.
And then for this, yeah, for that 27 Capricorn,
28, it says the key word is community. When positive, the degree is exceptional success in making all personal concerns a matter of common welfare. And when
Mm.
negative, loss of all character and sheer officiousness. Ooh.
I'm going to admit Lily Schoen, I guess Lily just joined us again. That's amazing. So that, yeah, so community. It's the Statue of Liberty, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but not at one other's expense. That's so interesting. Well, team, any other points we want to look at? You know, it's pretty darn close to the Chiron return as well. But we know what these issues are about. You know what I wanted to say, instead of just looking at the US Pluto return, there's something similar happening in England right now. I don't know if you've been following the news. They just had, their elections, also France as well. They reelected Emmanuel Macron, who is pretty middle of the road and has had a long time friendship with Putin and Russia.
Hmm.
The more conservative candidate did not win. In England, the Tory party is losing power, their more conservative party, and the Labour Party is gathering more power. So there's something parallel happening, and we've inherited our ideologies and some of our values from the escapees, both the escapees and the imperialists from Europe, both France and England. So this is an intertwined ancestry. And I'd be curious to look at their charts in relation to the Sibley chart. Anywho, it's almost 2 o'clock. Does anybody have other things to chime in about? Lily Schoen, Dina Petrosian, Catherine Sharpley. I think we lost Audrey. Did we get too political? I mean, it's a government chart. It's politics. That's what I love about geopolitical astrology. Talking politics.
Can you recommend an author on geopolitical astrology?
An author on geopolitical astrology. La la la. I don't necessarily know an author. I would say a speaker. Rick Levine touches on geopolitical astrology.
Oh, he's good.
Who?
Rick Levine, I would say, and he does a daily, his Instagram and his Facebook, and he does a daily, and I would say very actively geopolitically. His theme at the end of all of his talks, which he does his own channel on YouTube. He has a Patreon channel, and his sign off is think globally, act locally, and his Instagram and Facebook daily. He does a daily writing. I mean, he did a daily paper writing forever, and now he does his own on Facebook and Instagram. He does a quote usually every day of an African or an African American or a minority speaker or writer. So instead of him being the astrologer, he gives voice to an African American and minority voice. in conjunction with the astrology of the day, so he not just shares the mic, he passes the mic. So he gives power to the disempowered. So I would say, instead of looking for one author, astrologer, writer, check out him. And then also the Black Astrology Association. They're going to have some different ways to think about geopolitical astrology than Caucasian American or Euro Caucasian astrology writers. And Astrology Hub has a few interesting speakers that'll touch on mundane astrology as well.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I like to call it geopolitical mundane. The word mundane, I know, but it sounds boring. And there's nothing boring to me about geopolitical astrology.
Right.
It's way too exciting and it's way too dynamic and it's way, Carolyn, did you have some thoughts?
Oh, I was just looking at the moon in 27 Aquarius. And
Oh,
the
good call.
Sibley chart, and it says, I'll just
Okay.
read it real quick. It says Aquarius 27, an ancient pottery bowl filled with violets. This is a symbol of the permanence or changelessness of the real as an ultimate assurance to the human heart. No matter how many shifting forms the face of life may present to man, there are always the surviving tokens of an enduring stability on which the ephemeral and the superficial are unable to make any impact. Where there is replacement of substance and variety of structure, there is also an overall continuance of meaning and identity in which self may anchor itself. The key word is tradition. When positive, the degree is a high realization of values and a real gift for using them. And when negative, a loss of self in conventionality and its meaningless trappings. I thought that was kind of interesting. Anyway.
Oh, was that for 26, 27, and 8? I have 27, 28 on the chart, 27 to 10. I like that.
Well, I don't know, 27, it says
It's
27
27,
and
10.
10, so it seemed closer to 27, but
Got it.
28.
Oh, okay. I
Oh,
go
it's
by.
got Aquarius 28 is a tree felled and sawed. This is a symbol of the employment of a lesser reality for the development and a sustainment of a greater, and of the individual's ability in a crisis to center his attention on the pressing functions and necessities of a very practical well-being. The key word is immediacy. When positive, the degree is man's uninhibited and enthusiastic desire to be at work or to mobilize everything around him in his own interest. When negative, unnecessary surrender to hard or unrewarding effort to a total lack of imagination. I kind of like the 27 one, but
The 27 to, it's 27 and 10 minutes. So I would read for 27 to 28, which is what you just read, which is harder. It's a harder reality. But, and also the complete statement from Elsie Wheeler is as follows: a tree felled and sawed to ensure a supply of wood for the winter. So it's a rich resource of potential that could be shared for the betterment of all or squandered.
Wow, exactly. And that's
So
who, that's Elsie.
Elsie Wheeler is the psychic. She was a disabled, wheelchair-bound psychic that drew these symbols.
Wow, because this
so
is the only book I have, Dr. Mark Edmund Jones, but he says the tree felled and sawed, and then he goes on to the rest, but he doesn't say that. So.
Oh yeah, this is just the original notes, and I like it more simplified. And I don't necessarily. I think I like having some reading, but for me, they're just like the planets or the signs of the zodiac or any piece of art, that we have this symbolic ability to interpret these symbols ourselves.
Sure.
We do.
Sure.
It's our heritage to understand art and symbols and to interpret symbols from the cosmos. Yes, that a bird passing, omens. So these are like omens of the times. I love that you read for the moon, and also because Saturn is approaching this point of the moon as well.
Oh.
So it's a Saturn approaching a conjunction with the moon for July July 11th. So the reason I put July 11th was it's the closest to our own, for the nation's independence, its birthday, our solar return. And the moon is the people.
Right.
So Patrina, what you just missed is what Carolyn was sharing, the degrees, Sabian symbols for 27 degrees and 10 minutes Aquarius.
Ancient pottery filled with violets.
Well, that's 20.
That's
26.
27. Yeah, that's 27.
That's 26 to
In
27.
this, guys.
Yeah. That's 26 to 27. So if it's 27 and 10 minutes, it's actually, I read for the degrees 27 to 28 degrees Aquarius, a tree felled and sawed to ensure a supply of wood for the winter. And what I was just noting was someone named Spirit is waiting to enter the room. So I will admit Spirit. That's hilarious. It's almost 2 o'clock. Hopefully this is not a troll.
Thank you.
You know, but I am the I'm the host, so I can remove them if need be. But we were just wrapping up actually. But you know what I noted, Patrita, and that I just was saying to Carolyn was Saturn is approaching a conjunction with the moon in transit.
Oh, okay.
Do you see that?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we get a Saturn conjunct the moon. So we could interpret that as Saturn, the authority, hierarchy, structure coming to meet the will of the people.
Well, then, and then
The
Saturn's
people.
also a ruler of Aquarius, as
Yes.
well as Uranus, right? Yeah, yeah. So
Saturn is, well, Pluto's in Capricorn responding to Saturn in Aquarius. Uranus is in Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus will be in Gemini. So very interesting time. So that's actually July 11th. I chose that date because it's closest to the our birthday, our solar return as a nation,
Yeah.
July 4th, 2022. That's why I chose that, Patrita.
wow.
Correct.
You know,
Great.
so what's going to be cooking around July? That's interesting. What's the lunar cycle? It will be waning. It will just be past the moon, full moon, in July.
Hmm.
Very interesting, and it'll be right as Sun in Cancer. So it's the heart of the summer.
That would be the family units,
Hmm.
Yes.
the homes, the real estate situation is so crazy.
Boy, is it?
Yeah. And this is interesting too, because the same thing is happening in England. As I was hearkening back to we're speaking English, first of all. We fought
Right.
England to become our own nation. It
Right.
harkens back to the Pluto return, our solar return. And the same thing is happening in England. The most Google search terms in England right now are how to leave England, how to move to other European countries, because the cost of living and inflation, housing, and I'm talking electricity, gas, food, and rent have
Yeah.
escalated so badly in England. And that's why the Tory Conservative Party is failing, it's floundering, because
Wow.
the Labour Party is.
So they're going to exploit the bubble. They're going to push people to the limit.
Yes, they're doing it. They're totally doing it. So that's why I said, oh my God, it's this. I mean, we're actually the child of England
Yes.
ancestrally as a nation. And so we could be learning from them.
Exactly.
We could. That would be the wise thing to do, yes. So it's very interesting.
And DNA wise too.
Yes. Oh yeah, I would, but and also completely mixed. Like I'm in Los Angeles. I don't know wherever else. I mean, it's like 200 languages are spoken in Los Angeles every day. It was one of the most complex regions of, the country here. But certainly there's a European ancestral European, Asian,
Middle Eastern, a lot of Middle Eastern.
Middle Eastern, African,
Mhm.
and indigenous. If I think North, Central, and South America, I think indigenous ancestry.
Mexican.
Yeah, Mexican, Incan, Peruvian. So it's interesting because England had colonized North Africa, Middle East, Polynesia, that so many immigrants from the Middle East and also Africa now live in England, and how that dynamic is shifting very quickly. And their also refusal to, and their foot dragging to allow Ukrainians to be admitted to the country.
Wow.
I think
Do
they've
you-
only taken up, I think, about 50 Ukrainians, while Ireland initially took something like 1,500 in the first 2 weeks.
Wow.
Uh-huh. So
Wow.
we shall see.
Yeah.
That would be, that would be a fascinating chart study, is comparing England and the US. Well, if you want to talk about it any further, I run my own Uranian Times think tank. I have a page up on Facebook, a group there. That
Yeah.
was if you wanted to talk, because I think those would be really great charts to take a look at, a comparison between the transits of the US and the transits of England or the United Kingdom. Because the UK has a very mottled history as well. And you're right. We are the ancestral child of England.
Yeah.
So my Facebook group page, I actually got a grant from ISAR, International Society of Astrological Research. And
Is are you too? How to integrate it? Is this you? Did you send me this text message?
I didn't send on your phone?
Yes.
No, I didn't. I don't have your phone number. But
Oh,
Uranian Times Think Tank is my Facebook group, but we meet via Zoom to talk about these kind of issues.
Iranian think tank.
Think Tank, Uranian Times. Because we're in Uranian Times.
Yes, we are.
I mean, the most electric, and it's only going to get more electric. Wait until Uranus enters Gemini.
Wow.
I can't even think about it.
That's where my Uranus is.
That's where my Uranus is too.
Oh my God, you're going to have a Uranus return?
I square my sun.
Oh my God, it'll be fantastic. We'll probably have you could get any cyborg part that you want by then.
As the ruler of my ascendant.
The rule of your ascendant is Uranus?
Yes.
Are you an Aquarius?
Yes. Aquarius rising.
Aquarius ascendant. And Carolyn, what were you? What's your ascendant? Oh, Pisces?
Oh, I'm Pisces.
Pisces. Of course you are. I love it.
Of course I am, huh?
I'm a Virgo rising, of course.
I have a
La, la, la,
Virgo
la,
sun
la, la, la.
sign and Pisces rising.
Wait, what? Say
I
again?
have a Virgo sun sign and Pisces rising.
I'm going to look for your website.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. And
Thank
my
heavens I have-
midheaven is in Gemini. So I'm like,
Yeah, my midheaven is in Sag, and thank heavens I have like 3 planets in Leo, but they're pretty intense. So some fire there. See.
that's the fabulous hair.
Carolyn, what degree is your rising and midheaven at? I also have
know-
Pisces rising, Sag, and Virgo sun.
I have 22 degrees, and I was looking, I was trying to find that because that was kind of interesting what it was saying there, but I don't know where it went. 22 degrees.
I'm going to
Pisces?
stop share.
Are you at 22 degrees Pisces?
Yeah,
That's my rising sign exactly.
you're kidding.
22:00, and my sun is at 23:50.
Okay, well,
Lily, put your video on.
Oh,
Yeah.
I came out of the shower before this, so I have wet hair, so no.
But I oftentimes
funny,
find that
this is so
true
fun.
that folks have, like, once you get to chatting, like, we have similar angles, or like a lot of my clients, we have the same exact angles.
How
I think-
funny.
Yeah, it's so great. Like, we definitely have things in common here in this group. So
Do you want me to read 22 Pisces at all? I just found it.
go for
Yeah.
it.
It's kind of interesting. A man bringing down the new law from Sinai. This is a symbol of the eternal authority implicit in the very fact of man's ideals and of a spiritualization of experience through the religious insights of human society and the institutions it has created for the common welfare. The inspired prophets of each age have been custodians of an enduring morality, just a little more. And this has its embodiment in the mountaintop aspiration of even the least of individuals. Right is dramatized as a personal responsibility for the course of events. The key word is mandate. When positive, the degree is self-sacrifice and a determination to further the ultimate upliftment of all men. And when negative, self-exploitation and impenetrable egotism. Whoa.
Well, I like the positive reading of that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm onto that. Yeah. Determination to further the ultimate upliftment of all men. What else are we going to do?
That the Pisces. I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, we're still recording. I think Jim will finally get this recording because it just saves it through Zoom. It's already after 2. I can't
Yeah, I
believe that
guess.
the tech, I'm sure Jim just continued his own talk at the Unurban Cafe. And thanks all for chiming
Yes.
in and having,
you.
because that was really insightful and really helpful. And I like a group sharing
I
that
do
we
too.
all,
Thank you. Thank you for taking over.
Yes, really.
Yes.
you
Thank
got it. That's my job on my chart. It's like literally my job.
I'm gonna go into a Uranian Times think tank by Katarina Shraba.
Grabba.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit pause in the recording
Yeah.
or stop recording if I may.
Iranian think tank. Okay.
Yeah, Uranian Times think tank.
Iranian
Cool.
Times think tank. And this is on where? This is